In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Claude to scrape data from pretty much any site and automate large scraping operations. There are quite a lot of videos on this topic. Some talk about Chrome extensions, others talk about Apify, others talk about writing custom scripts, but I haven't yet found a video that shows all those methods with practical examples, pros and cons, and an explanation on when to apply each one. So that's what I want to cover in this video. Let's get straight into it. All right, starting off with method number one, using Claude. This is actually by far the easiest way to scrape a web page, and you're probably already using this without even realizing it. For example, if I want to scrape the recipes from this website, I can just copy the link, go to Claude, and ask it to extract the recipes from this web page. And Claude has the right tools. It's able to perform HTTP requests to extract the HTML of this web page and give me a list of the recipes that it sees. So this is a feature that you're using even without realizing it every time you interact with Claude and you're asking it to fetch information from different websites. It's also the method that it's using when it's performing research for you. Now, where this method breaks is if I want to do some kind of bulk scraping. So in this example here, if let's say I want to open up each one of these recipes, extract the recipe text from the page, and then summarize it, Claude will not be able to handle that very well. And you can see it here. I'm asking it to open each page, extract the content, and then summarize each recipe. And you can see that it's already starting to complain here, saying that these pages are large. It will pull the rest with tighter content limit. So it's not really built to do this because it's loading all the content in its context window, and it doesn't have a very large context window. So eventually it reaches some limitations here. And what it ended up doing is it actually only extracted 5 of those 19 recipes that it found. And by the way, this is just the first page of recipes on the website. If I want to extract all the recipes on the website, which are thousands, it will not be able to do that. So this is the limitation with the first method. So this is when we move to method number 2, which is great for scaling the process of scraping data from public websites. Now, what this method actually entails is asking Claude to create a web scraper that will extract the data of a specific website. So in this case, I'm asking it to build a web scraper for this recipes website here, where it needs to go through each recipe that appears on the website and then extract the content of the recipe into a text file that will live under this recipes directory. So the key difference with this method is I'm not asking Claude to do the web scraping itself. I'm asking it to write a script. I'm asking it to write a program that I can run on my computer, or I can even ask Claude to run it for me, that will perform all the necessary actions to scrape the data from that website. So you can see here that it's going through the website, it's figuring out the architecture, the data structure of this website, and then it will write a scraper, it will write the script that we can then execute to automate all the required actions for the data to be extracted and stored in files. So scraperecipes.py is this Python file, this script file that it wrote to do the web scraping, and is currently testing it. You can see that it detected 1,700 recipe posts on this website, and is currently running some tests to ensure that it works as expected. I can go here in the files under the recipes directory, and I can see the text files that it's generating. So this is all the content that is extracting for the recipes that it found. We can also see the progress here. It currently extracted 160 recipes, 176, and just keeps going and going and going, right? So because it's a deterministic script, it runs on the computer, it can run really fast, and all the data is stored on my machine here under this recipes folder. So far we looked at method number 1, which is very easy to use. It's embedded in your Claude interactions, and it's great for scraping like single web pages as part of your day-to-day work. Now, it doesn't scale very well, so if we want to do some kind of bulk scraping, then we need a script. And this is where we move to method number 2, where we ask Claude to write a script for us. And this script runs on the computer, so it's much faster. And it's actually free to run as well, because with this first method, every time Claude needs to orchestrate the web fetching, and also when it retrieves the data from the website and brings it into the context of the chat, all that consumes AI tokens. So this is actually a more cost-effective method as well. But where both of these methods reach a limit is on the types of websites that they can scrape. So far in the examples, we looked at how to scrape easy websites. And by easy websites, I'm referring to websites with simple architecture and no bot protection. If we want to scrape more difficult websites that have complex data structures and are heavily protected against bots, I'm talking about websites such as Amazon, YouTube, Upwork. For these websites, we need other methods. So let's say I want to scrape all the latest job posts on Upwork that are related to AI. I go on Upwork, I search for AI, and I get a list of all the jobs. Now, if I copy this URL and I go to Claude and tell it, extract the job post of this page here, I will soon get a response saying that I wasn't able to pull that page directly because Upwork blocks automated access to this job search results. So this is where we are stuck, because Upwork is a site that is heavily protecting itself against bots. And actually, method 2 would also get blocked in this case because there are no mechanisms in place to bypass bot protection. So for this use case, we need to move to method number 3, which is using the Claude Chrome extension to scrape these heavily protected sites. So for this method, what you need to do is install the Claude Chrome extension on your browser. And by having this extension open alongside the website that you want to scrape, all you need to do is just tell Claude what it is that you want to scrape. So in this case, I want to scrape the job posts on the first 2 pages. So now Claude will read the page and will extract the information of each job post. There we go. So these are the job posts for page 1. And these are the job posts of page 2. So Claude is able to extract the data from this website without getting blocked because the data has already been downloaded by the browser. It doesn't need to perform any HTTP requests and bypass any bot protection. It's seeing whatever we are seeing on the screen and is able to extract the information that it needs. Now from here, we can ask it to store this data in a CSV file or a file of another format, send the data somewhere. We have the full functionality that we get with Claude directly in our browser. So for example, I went on TikTok, I performed a search, and I asked it to extract the title, thumbnail, and description of the top 30 videos that appear on this search. It took it a while, but it was able to successfully scrape the information because it all lives on this page. The description, which is also the title of the post, I didn't know that, lives directly in that HTML tag here. And then the thumbnail is also available on this page. So it was able to do it just fine. But then I asked it to scrape the number of comments that each one of these videos received. And this is where things got much slower, because for this, it had to open up every single one of these video pages to find the number of comments. The number of comments do not appear on the video directly on the search page. It needs to open up the actual video page to extract it, right? So if you want to do some research on TikTok and you're extracting this information for thousands of videos, then this becomes an unscalable process. Yes, it might work if you want to do this once and you're only extracting information from a handful of videos, but if you want to do this at scale, then it will be very slow, and I think you will eventually also run out of tokens because all this orchestration requires tokens. Similar with Amazon, I went on Amazon, I asked it to scrape products from the home decor category. But then when I asked it to scrape the description of each product, it had to open up each one of these product pages here to extract the description. So same issue here. It takes a long time and it's quite unscalable if you want to do this for thousands and thousands of products. Now, this is where method 4 comes into play, which is actually very similar to method 2 in the sense that we're going to be writing a script to automate the process of going through multiple pages and extracting their content. But where the big difference is that we're no longer going to be making plain HTTP GET requests because these get blocked by bots, right? We're now scraping heavily protected sites. Instead, we're going to be using a service called Apify, which will act as a middleware that allows us to trigger scrapers that know how to bypass the protection of these sites. Now, if you're not familiar with Apify, it's basically a web scraper marketplace. I'm going to put a link in the description below if you want to try it out. And it has thousands of scrapers. So depending on the website that we want to scrape, we can just go here and they have this Apify store where you can search for the type of website that you want to scrape, or not the type of the website that you want to scrape, and you will find relevant actors. So for this example, I searched for an Upwork scraper and they have this Upwork job scraper. So I want to basically try and build a scraper that automates the process that I showed earlier, like going on Upwork and scraping a bunch of job posts. So I open Claude here and I'm telling it, I want you to build an Upwork scraper, which will take as input a topic, right? So the Upwork searches can be filtered down by topic. In this case, I want to do AI as an input. And it will scrape all the latest job posts from that topic, and it will use the Apify scraper as kind of like the middleware for doing that scraping. So I gave it a link to the exact scraper, to that Upwork scraper that I found on Apify that I wanted to be using. So now you can see that it's going ahead and writing the script for me. By reading the Apify actor documentation, it's able to figure out, what input parameters it needs to pass to that scraper in order to work. And just like that, within a few minutes, I have the script written here. And it tells me, how it can be executed. So these are the parameters that can be passed to the command to execute the script. But I don't need to worry about that because I could just ask Claude to execute the script for me based on what I want to do. And this is flexible. I can scrape AI job posts. I can scrape web development job posts. This is flexible, and I can also define, how many jobs I want to be scraping in total. Now, in order for Apify to be connected to this script, I need to provide it with an API token. So to get an API token, you go to the settings in your Apify account, API and integrations, and here you can create a new token. I like to name it something descriptive so I know what it's for. And then I can just copy the token, go back to Claude, give it this token, and it will store it in the environment variables of the script. So every time it knows that it needs to authenticate to Apify using this token. So to test it out, I asked it to scrape the 20 latest AI jobs. And within a few minutes, I had the files here. So it created both a Markdown file as well as a JSON file. I opened the Markdown file just to see the content. As you can see here, there is the exact same job post that we see on the website, one after the other with all the information. And here's the JSON version. And this script I can keep executing as many times as I want. I can even put it on a server and create a cron job that will execute it, let's say once a day or once every few hours to retrieve all the latest posts and store them somewhere for analysis purposes. So with these two methods, you're able to scrape the more difficult sites, the more heavily protected sites, with the difference that method 3 is best for one-time tasks, and method 4, it's great if you want to do some bulk scraping. So this is how you scrape websites with Claude. I hope these 4 methods now make sense and you understand when to apply each one of these based on different scenarios, based on different use cases. I want you to let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or any suggestions for future videos that you want to see. For example, if you want me to dive deeper into some of these methods or scrape specific websites, just let me know in the comments below and I will consider making a video. With that said, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you on the next one.